Hello. In this video we are going to move on to what's titled stage 6 of our development process. We have 2 more stages to go, 6 and 7, and we'll be all done. And what we're going to do is we're essentially going to design it so this nice logo at the top stays fixed. Now this is going to be an imperfect fix, and we'll see what I mean by that at the end. But all I want to kind of get right now is such that when I scroll down, this image stays fixed at the top so that I always see it. Okay, let's dive in. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take all the code from step 5. I'm going to make a new file called un-goal step6.html. Paste all of that in. I'm going to come up to the top here, and I'm going to change that title to 6. Let's close down 5. Let's close down these other ones. And now I could just come over here. Oh, let's just open it up, I guess. Alright, let me pause and just pull this up. Okay, here's our stage 6. We'll close up these other things. So what I want to do now is set this up so it's fixed on the top. Okay. So how I'm going to do this is as follows. The first step I'm going to do is this picture is what I want to be fixed at the top. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and I'm going to put it inside a div. And I'm going to give that div a class called top bar. Because this is going to be like a bar that sits on the top of my site. Let's take this and let's tap that in. So there's been no change yet. If I open up my browser, again, I haven't done anything to the actual look and feel. It's just that this is now contained inside of the div, and then I can apply the positioning features to that division. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back in here and I'm going to add .top bar, and I'm going to add some features. So I'm going to set a couple things. I'm going to set the overflow color to white. I'm going to set the background color to white. And this is the really key point. I need to set my position to fixed. And what a fixed position means is that we are going to give it a top position. You can specify a top, left, right, or bottom position, and it's going to fix that no matter where in the web page you are. So what I want to do is I want to set the top to 0, meaning that I'm going to fix it in the top. And if I want, I could put left to 0 as well, but it's not necessary. I'm going to set the width to 100%. And I'm going to write this thing, well, first off, I'm going to just leave it like this for a second. So let's save this and let's look at what happens now. So when I reload this, you can see it there, but notice it's behind everything else. And the reason why it's behind everything else is because, I first display my picture, and then it's below that I draw the rest, the flex container. So when it sets this up, it assumes that it's going to put that flex container on top of the top bar. And this is where I can use something called a Zed Index. So if I set my Zed Index here to something larger than -1, so I'm going to set it to 1,000. And a Z index is, think of it like a third dimension coming out of the computer. You have your X and Y dimension. Your Z dimension is coming up out of your page, up out of your computer screen. So the higher the Z index, the higher up that is. So it's gonna be above anything else that's below it. So if I come back here, I refresh that, there it is. So I have this nice kind of title that stays fixed at the top, and we see that works regardless of whichever one I have, whether it's the box logo or the square logo or the horizontal logo. But we have a little bit of a problem, and that problem is that when I'm at the top of the page here, I can't get to the very top because I fixed the position of this, but here this actual section is behind it, and so I can't see it. So what I want to do is I want to modify the top margin of this flex container so that it shifts down. Now there's a couple ways to do this, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this flex container and I'm going to modify the top margin. And to do that, I'm going to find the CSS. There it is. Oh, this one. And I'm going to say margin top to 200 pixels. And I made a bit of a guess here. Actually, I've done this already, so I know. And this is just one of a couple ways you could approach this. But what it does now is that says, I want you to make a top margin of 200 pixels. So the top, what's above this, is 200 pixels deep. So that means when I'm scrolled all the way up, it's actually sitting below that image. So now I can scroll down, I can scroll up. And when I get to the top, I have a little white space at the top that, allows me to see the whole image. Now, before we wrap up, let's just identify a design problem here. So if someone's using this on a website, on a computer, and you can see this, that's no problem. But if they are on a smaller screen, you notice that we have this issue where we set this margin of 200 pixels, but it actually needs to be a little larger. So if I set this to, say, 250, and let's refresh this, maybe 280. Let's refresh this. So this needs to be about 280. So this is where we have a bit of a problem because, I thought it looked nice in this sense. 280 looks too big here, but 200 makes it too small there. So we're going to reset this back to 200. And in our next video, we're going to actually write a little bit of JavaScript. And that JavaScript is going to figure out what the width of the screen is and then change that top margin accordingly. I hope this video helped. Have a wonderful day.